Y'all want to hear some shit to really blow y'all's mind this morning? So, as a side hustle, I did graves and graveyards and cemeteries across Bowling Green and surrounding counties. Something didn't set right with me today. As I was digging, the guy that's the director of the graveyard walked up to me and he was like, "We need to lift that casket up to get it even." So we put it on a tally and brought it back up. When we brought it back up, it come off even in a way, but it was crooked in the corner. So he's like, "We got to lift it." So I lifted it, me and him together. But the weirdest thing was, it was really light, like extremely light. Like, and I'm not a big dude. So I was like, I told him, I was like, why is that so light? He was like, "Don't ask questions that you ain't ready for." Y'all, I'm freaked out. What are they doing with these bodies?
At first, when I first stumbled upon this story on TikTok, it's been out for some time. I was thinking this is some tinfoil, Illuminati conspiracy type theory, rabbit hole nonsense. But then when I thought about it for a little bit, I was like, in my 30 something years on this earth, I've never once seen them, a sign coming soon or under construction for a new cemetery. I never really seen any expansions of cemeteries. And it got me to thinking, what are they doing with all these bodies? I mean, people are dying on the daily. So it would make you think with all the death that we would have cemeteries on every other corner. Now I know people get, cremated, but still, that's a small portion of the people that are dying. So it made me think, are they possibly repurposing these plots? Digging up people after, 15 years ago and repurposing that land? It makes you wonder.
Funeral home owner was caught secretly selling body parts behind the scenes. 46-year-old Megan Hess and her mother, 69-year-old Shirley Kosh, were operating a funeral home business and a body parts donor service from the same building in Montrose, Colorado. They used the funeral home to essentially steal bodies that were dropped off by their loved ones to be cremated. Megan dissected the bodies and sold the parts for profit to companies that used it for research and educational purposes. The funeral home charged up to $1,000 for cremations that never happened and lied to more than 560 families who received ashes from random people instead of their loved ones. And the companies that were purchasing all of these body parts from Megan claimed that they actually didn't know that this scheme was going on. But their operations finally came to an end when a former worker told police that the funeral home was conducting unauthorized dismemberments of bodies, and that's when the FBI raided their business. Megan pleaded guilty to fraud and was sentenced to 20 years in federal prison, and her mother was sentenced to 15 years.
Now I see stories like this, and then it makes it, maybe this stuff is not too far off. So essentially, this lady was using her funeral home and cremation business as a front, and she was giving people fake ashes. And then behind the back door, she was selling random body parts. Now, ultimately, this woman was turned in with one of her employees. Shout out to the employee that blew the whistle on this heinous crime. But it makes you think, why didn't they go after these research institutions? They had to know, or at least question, where is she getting all these body parts on such a consistent basis? Again, it's something about investigation should be launched. We all know that they have black markets where allegedly, different body parts and organs are sold and stuff like that. So it really does make you wonder. And like I said, the more I did some research on this topic, it's making me think that, there definitely may be some foul play with some of these funeral homes. Now, I'm sure majority of them are good and ran by upstanding people, but this definitely makes you Makes you wonder.
I'm a medium and I don't even have to step foot into a cemetery to understand what's been going on. I can feel it, and I've been noticing the patterns for a very long time. You guys have to keep this in mind. Death is a business. Birthing, that's a business. Life and death have been commodified for a while. And yeah, some of those caskets, don't look at my boob sweat. Some of those caskets, some of those coffins are empty and they are being reused. The question, what's happening to the bodies? Listen up. Those bodies are being violated. Those bodies are being experimented on. Those bodies are being offered up. Those bodies are being sold. Those bodies are being consumed in ways that most people could not stomach. Literally, right? Now, what's been happening in silence is finally starting to get its voice, and I'm all the way here for it. So in the meantime, guys, continue to speak up, continue to stay aware, continue to trust your knowing, and as always, stay on point.
You know what else is very interesting when you look at the United States as a whole and the business model of capitalism, right? It's been a strong push towards subscription based, whether it's your cable, whether it's your cell phone, whether it's your internet service. Everything basically has a monthly fee that you pay in exchange for some type of service. Now, when we apply that same type of logic to the funeral home business, you would think that, okay, why not have that same business model? Again, you pay for a plot of land, your loved one is put in the ground, and then you only pay a one-time fee, and we're supposed to believe that they're going to be there forever with no additional cost or fees. Again, like I said, I don't know if this is just me throwing on my your tinfoil hat, but the more and more, that's what's so dangerous about going down the rabbit hole. It just brings up more and more and more questions. But one thing for sure, it's definitely some foul play going on at some of these cemeteries.
Augusta, Georgia, Hillcrest Memorial Cemetery, I'd say you have some explaining to do.
Daughter Jada died about 23 years ago, and we buried her body right out here in this spot right here. My family and I, we used to live up here in Augusta, but we don't live here anymore. So about 6-8 months ago, we decided to inter my daughter's body and, cremate the remains so that we could carry her memory on, around our neck instead of, coming up to a place where we don't even live anymore. It's kind of far away. Fast forward, the cemetery dug the grave site up. We bought 3 plots in this area. She was supposed to be buried in the middle one. They dug up the middle spot and couldn't find any remains. So they dug up the second spot and the third spot and didn't find any remains. The cemetery would have us believe that because it's been 20 years, it happens that everything that was buried in that casket has returned to the earth. As a dad, that doesn't make sense to me. She was buried in clothes. The casket had metal on it. She had on shoes. But they're telling us that she's not here and they don't have any other answers for us. They pretty much just closed the conversation. I'm not really sure what else to do, but like I said, the dad in me will not let this just die. Again, this is Hillcrest Memorial in Augusta, Georgia, and I want some answers.
The way he phrases one part, I think, can be a little confusing because he makes it sound like they didn't find anything in the coffin. But if you pay attention, he said they dug in the plot she was supposed to be in, nothing, and then dug in the other 2. And he also says, like, the coffin had metal on it. He's saying they didn't find the coffin either. They found nothing. And they're saying in 23 years, oh yeah, it just broke down. It all just deteriorated in the earth. And apparently, he's not the only person who's had issues at the cemetery. He made another video where he received a comment from someone who said this.
This is some crazy shit. My mom's brother was supposed to be buried at Hillcrest as well. We had a whole service and everything. A month later, the coroner called us saying my mom's brother was still in the morgue and that they messed up and buried a homeless man instead of my uncle. What kind of craziness is that, man? That is wild, yo.
Yes. He also had a comment from someone who claimed that they used to work there around the time that his daughter would have been buried, and said there's no way that there would be nothing left from his daughter being buried there. If you have a loved one buried at Hillcrest Memorial Cemetery in Augusta, Georgia, you may want to look into things. I know he's already talking to attorneys and reporters, so if there's anything more, I shall let you know.
Definitely some foul play going there at Hillcrest Cemetery. And again, instances like this really make you wonder, what's going on um, with your loved one after you bury them. Because you really think about it. You think about it from, we just play devil's advocate. If I just take the side of the funeral home, right? You bury a person, 15, 20 years go by. It's very easy. Number one, most people are not going to request to have their loved one dug up. But then if they do, you just say, hey, everything disintegrated. Now, even though that doesn't really make the most sense, because I mean, you would expect some type of remains to be, again, some pieces of the coffin, the hinge, something to still be down there. But to see absolutely nothing, it really kind of makes you wonder and second guess what is going on here. And to go back to the initial story where the gentleman is telling you that they lifted up this casket out the ground and it felt very light, it may be some foul play going on here.
I think we all seen the, hey, I need help. I need math people here to check me. Has anybody else seen the video about the gravedigger dude? He did it as a side gig. Check out the video if you haven't. Just raising some questions. I'm losing my mind. Okay, let's say, they say it's between 24 and 32 square feet per plot for a burial plot, okay? In the U.S., there's 144,000 locations of burial plots, cemeteries. That's 2.5 million acres across the U.S. The average unaliving per year in the U.S. is 3.5 million, with 56% of them being cremated. That leaves about 1.5 million people being buried. All right, so if we take that 1.54 million and multiply it by square feet, that's 36 million square feet. I don't know, maybe I don't know how to multiply square feet. I'm really trying to give the benefit of the doubt here. 36 million square feet it's 826,000 acres, because there's 43,000 square feet in 1 acre. Can someone please check me and give me, I'm not being conspiratorial. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying I've always asked questions about this, so I decided to look at some numbers. Can someone help me double check this and just tell me that I'm being an idiot, or explain how this, because you see that, right? I'm not tripping, right? Do you see this? Is this me? What is going on, bro?
Again, I never broke down and did the math. I was just going off common sense and just simple logic. I'm not saying I'm the smartest guy in the room, but you would think, if all these people are dying, can anyone ever tell me the last time they seen, in passing, them building a new cemetery or expanding, again, like I said, under construction? I've never seen it. That's not to say that doesn't happen. I mean, just because I haven't seen it, but it really does make you wonder. And then when you see these stories of people going to dig up their loved ones, or you have people in the industry and they're digging up graves, and the bodies are not there, or they have workers saying the caskets feel light. Are they really repurposing these lots? And not only are they repurposing these lots, what exactly are they doing with the remains? We seen one video where a woman had basically a front of the business where she was acting like she was cremating people's loved ones, giving them fake ashes, and then selling the bodies to educational institutions. And these institutions were really kind of looking the other way and trying to play dumb and acting like they don't know where these remains came from.
None of nobody that died that you ever buried, they not in that, they not in there, they not in the ground. They're not in the ground at all. You can go dig that shit up yourself. I got $1,000 for you. You dig it up right now. I guarantee you it ain't no bones in that bitch. I guarantee you ain't see no bones in that bitch. It should at least be some bones in there still right there. If their body was down there, right? What you gonna say? All the bones got ate by the worms, nigga? Nigga, it ain't gonna be a box in there, nigga. It ain't gonna be a box in there, nigga. I bet you ain't even a casket in there. A box. None of that.
I'm in Augusta, Georgia today at Hillcrest Memorial Cemetery.
We're going to pause it right there because that replays the same clip that I showed earlier about Hillcrest Cemetery. But it definitely makes you wonder what's going on. My understanding, do I think most funeral homes are on the up and up? Yes. Would I be surprised that, maybe a minority percentage of them were engaging in some type of malicious and foul play when it came to um, these bodies and repurposing plots? I would not be surprised at all. But let me know in the comments below. I know we're going to have people in the industry or maybe someone who's dealt with this where they went to dig up a loved one and their body may not have been there. Let me know in the comments below. I look forward to hearing from you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.